Hi, this is Shelley Crafter coming to you live on SNN Live. We're at the Cambridge House, California Resource Conference 2013 here in Indian Wells. With me, very recognizable person, Brent Cook from Brent Cook Exploration Insights, a featured speaker at this conference, and he's been on many times, and we love to come and get updates from you.
Well,
welcome back to SNN Live.
Thanks, lovely to be here again with you, Shelley.
It's good to see you. Tell our audience what is going on in minerals, mining, resource industry. You don't even have to be metal specific or precious metal specific. Just tell us what's going on.
Well, for anyone that hasn't noticed, it's been a really rough start to the year. It's been a really rough year, and 2 years in general have been bad. We've done all right on our website, on my newsletter, but in general it's been pretty tough. What we're seeing here is a rotation out of the metals from a lot of the funds into other things, and the resource-focused funds in particular are being hit really heavy with redemptions. And these guys are fully invested, so they've got to sell. So any company that has any volume, they're selling into. So we're at a positive time in the market where investors that do their due diligence can buy a good project, a good company at a serious discount to what it's trading at, or what it's really worth.
So let me ask you a question. This has happened not only in resource, but it's happened in biotech. It happens in real estate. It happens in every single sector of the market. Now I'm going to throw something at you, but I need to explain a little bit more. So you talk about the institutional investors on one side, and you've got the retail investors on the other side. In every instance, the institutions come in like elephants, and they leave like lambs, and they leak out what their positions are. Retail could take tremendous advantage of that, because when institutions sell, even into liquidity, it has a bad effect on the underlying price. That's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Precisely. Let me ask you a question. What's the prerequisite to selling high?
Buying low.
Exactly. And that's where we're at. I mean, these things are getting just pounded from the institutions who have to sell. They don't necessarily want to, they have to sell. And if, for us that have the money available, starting to buy these projects, these companies now, legitimate, high margin, mineral deposits, discoveries, we should be buying these now. It's a perfect time to be doing it.
Here's another question. And, look, retail investors are buying a share of a publicly traded company for either investment purposes or for a trading idea, right? So when the institutions are going in, they're either putting money directly into the company and they're converting their investment into shares, or they're buying shares at a price. When they need money, they don't care what the company has as far as resources go. They don't care that they're about to drill and come out with a 43-101 report. They couldn't care less. Their mandate is they need to go to cash, right?
Precisely. When you got redemptions, you've got to sell.
You got to sell. You got to go to cash. So now an investor, how does an investor differentiate between something they should buy, something they should watch, and something they should not buy?
If we're talking about the mineral sector, it's really
critical. Right. That's what I am.
Okay, it's really critical to understand the underlying value of a company's property, a mineral deposit. And that comes down to what's the margin, what's the profit margin, what's the capex going to be, what's the political situation, those sorts of things. And to be honest, not to plug myself in my letter specifically, but you need an expert. I mean, I know nothing about biotech, right? And so no one should listen to me about buying biotech, and I shouldn't be buying biotech. But when it comes to mining, get an expert, be it a broker, a brother who's a geologist, a newsletter writer, someone who can say what the problems are going to be, because most of these discoveries or companies are going to find nothing. You might see their share chart go up, but we know 95% are going to come down because it's really hard to find an economic deposit. So what you need to do is identify the fatal flaw as the ramp up is going on and get out before the crowd.
Here's my question. You know me. I got questions.
Yes.
Okay, so reportedly, there are a lot of companies on the TSX Venture that are trading, teetering at around 10 cents a share. And then I read a report that many of them are really below a level of cash that they should be. So how integral is the share price with the amount of cash on hand or separately to the underlying resource and the company's ability to exploit that?
Right. Well, basically, just to stay in business in the venture exchange, you need around $300,000 just to pay the bill, just to pay the fees and that sort of thing. If you got a geologist, secretary, and somebody else out there, you're looking at close to $600,000 a year. And then if you're going to do any drilling at all, you've got to add another $1 to $3 million for that. So if your company doesn't have that much sitting there, it's dead, because there's no money coming into this sector except very specifically. And if a company has a resource that looks viable, then you can, then you consider it. But make sure it's viable, because if you're sitting on $600,000, you're toast.
So in other words, cash is a very important ingredient in the decision as to what you should do in this market.
Yeah, these guys don't make money, they spend money.
Okay, so if you meet a guy and comes to one of your, obviously you speak at these conferences, what was your specific speech about today?
Today we talked just about kind of what we've been talking about, the state of the market, and I laid out a couple of ideas that I can point to companies with resources, reserves, feasibility studies that are trading, call it $200 million, and a solid feasibility puts it at over $1 billion value at $1,500 gold. So those are the sorts of things you can buy right now if you've got confidence in the feasibility work, and that's key.
So ladies and gentlemen, you know who you are. If you're out there looking in this sector of the market, you might want to go and visit the website that Brent's about to give you. And that website is?
Yeah, my website is explorationinsights.com. That's what my newsletter is, comes out once a week. And it's about what I'm doing with my money in the sector. Nobody pays me to say anything. I say what I want.
Brent Cook from Exploration Insights, a featured speaker at Cambridge House. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNN Live. And we are together at the Cambridge House California Resource Conference 2013 in Indian Wells, California. Brent, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Shelley.